B&B 2020. Are you ready?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are at Whilton Mill for this penultimate round of the Rich Energy British Mini Bikes Championship. My name is Chris Sora, and I'll be taking you through the afternoon's action. As you can see, looking at the paddock on the left-hand side of your screen, another big entry of riders for this penultimate round of the championship. We've got some... So currently under a red flag situation whilst the medical crews deal with the injured riders from the previous race. So we hope that's nothing too serious, and hopefully we'll get racing back underway. In the waiting zone right now are the SYMoto's veterans. Just as soon as we get the all clear from the medics and the clerk of the course, we'll be able to get racing back underway. What's always a very exciting, very closely fought race category. And we'll have a look how they lined up in the morning qualifying session. The riders will be taking to the grid in just a few minutes' time. This is how they will line up. James Mostica on pole, the number 27 with a 45.075. Second is Ed P. Third, Phil Dickens. Fourth, Matthew Davis. Ian Wareham and Julian Gromit. Only 1.4 seconds covering the top six riders. Ben Douglas in seventh from Steve Booth. Dean Bednarek in 9th, Ian Walker, Gav Tappenden 11th, and Gary Carter in 12th place. 13th for Stu Bateson, Tony Reveley 14th, Dervin Elaine in 15th from William Horner, Mick Price and Mark Jarrett in 18th position. 19th is Robin Kyle, 20th Mike Smallbone, Stan Gill 21st from Chris Miller, Matthew Corbett and Michael Judkins in 24th position. 25th for John Pearson. And no time for Meredith Owen, Paul Saville, Darren Hall, Paul Histon and Daniel Pearson taking us down towards the back of the field. So in the corners. So here they come, the pit bike vets around the final corner, lining up on the grid. And we should be underway in just a few moments' time. Ed Peed at the front there on the 147. Certainly well placed. Matthew Davis, Ian Wareham, Phil Dickens, all riders to look out for. There's Dervin Lane on the 189, just on the inside there. Pearson a bit further back there, John Pearson on the 177. So the last few pit bike vets making their way through boot in the final corner, and we should be underway with our first race of the day for SYMoto's pit bike vets in just a few moments. Here we go, visors down, and we wait for the green flag. Riders are ready, the green flag goes up, and pit bike vets race number one gets underway. One rider at the back stuck on the line there, but everyone else seems to have got through safely. Here they come through Oblivion for the first time. And it's all very slow, very technical as they make their way up the hill. Good start there for the 51. Here they come through into Christmas Corner for the first time. There's the 13. And Gav Tappenden down the inside. Down they go towards Zulu for the first time. Everyone seems to have got through those first corners okay. Looks like a good start there for James Mostica. Talked earlier, of course, this is a very important race for Mostica in terms of the championship, looking to try and close that gap on the leaders. Here they come round the final few corners, so Mostica leads. Oh, trouble here just on the edge of the top 10, rider down in the boot complex, but doesn't look like anything serious as they make their way through. I think that may possibly, having a look, I think it may be Mark Jarrett or William Horner that went down, but the rider okay in any case. As we look at Gav Tappenden coming in towards Christmas Corner, right on his tail though is Ben Douglas and Ian Wareham. So Wareham having a look on the 77. Ben Douglas 71. Tappenden with a good start. He moves up to 6th place. Douglas dropping to 7th. All very aggressive there over the curve there from Tappenden. Guarding that inside line. The 164 Tony Reveley goes through 11th place. Stu Bateson, Dervin Elaine, Mick Price and John Pearson a bit further behind. There's the 205 for Matthew Corbett as the top 10 making their way through boot once again. Tappenden pulls away. James Mostica then is still your race leader. 2.3 seconds from Phil Dickens in second place. There is Matthew Davis, Ed Peed, and the 1:10. Matthew Davis having a look down the inside. Dickens in second place. They make their way through Christmas Corner. So Phil Dickens there, 51 on the bike, 55 on your timing screens. The 1:10 of Davis in third. Ed Peed 1:47, a bit further behind in fourth place. There we have the 75 of Julian Gromit, the championship leader, down in fifth place. So at the moment, in terms of the championship, Gromit will be losing some points here to James Mostick, who's leading the race, but certainly fifth place will be okay, I would say, for the time being. So certainly we'll have a look at the 75 in a few moments as the battle of the third place makes its way through. Gromit in fifth position as Dickens runs wide, slightly on the approach to Christmas Corner. Up the hill they go. This could be the advantage here for Davis down the inside, and number 1:10 Matthew Davis through to second place from Phil Dickens. A mistake going out of Oblivion drops Dickens down to third. Ed Peed and Julian Gromit just behind fourth and fifth place. Down the hill they go through Zulu. So James Mosticker 44.8 last time round, the race leader. Mosticker leads the race, pulling away 3.2 seconds this time round as we look at the battle of second here. The number 1:10 of Matthew Davis round the final corner. Dickens third, Ed Peed and Julian Gromit all very close. There's the 75 of Gromit round the final corner, leading the championship, of course. Fifth place will be okay for him for now. Mosticker needs to win the race, and he's certainly doing that at the moment. 3.5 seconds ahead of this battle for second place that makes its way through Christmas Corner. Matthew Davis second place, Phil Dickens in third. There we see Davis just cresting that technical right-hander down through Zulu, trying to pull away now from Dickens, who's aggressively going over the curve, just trying to pull a gap there. There's Tapperton a bit further back on the edge of the top 10. Douglas on the 71, Ian Wareham 77, Gary Carter and Ian Walker a bit further behind. So Gav Tapperton well placed in the championship as well. Here he comes around the final corner. Number 13, Mosticker still leads, Matthew Davis second, Phil Davis third, Ed Peed in fourth, Julian Gromit, and there's this battle now for sixth position. Tapperton, Douglas and Wareham. Tapperton on the 13, closely followed then up to Christmas Corner by Ian Wareham. As trouble here on Christmas Corner for number 51, Phil Dickens has gone down on the exit of Christmas Corner, straight back onto the bike. So let's have a look. I think he's behind maybe Ian Wareham, or could even be Gary Carter. So change at the front here. Didn't quite see that, we just saw the tail end of that, but Phil Dickens going down on the exit of Christmas Corner. And I think he is behind Gary Carter. Here comes the battle now. This is good news, of course, for Gromit, who will move up to fourth place. Ed Peed up to third as the leaders make their way through. So Matthew Davis second, Ed Peed on the 147, the rider with the sky blue and white overalls there, or leathers, I could say, going up the hill. There's the 27 of Mosticker, the race leader. Mosticker, of course, with a no score at the first round of the championship at Ella Park. So he's really playing catch up in the championship. He's been the rider to beat last couple of rounds, but Gromit in fourth place, 75, still has that cushion in front in terms of the championship. Just to recap there, we going into this race, Gromit leading the series by 40 points. So Mosticker really does need to win all of these races now, the last four races of the championship over these next two rounds, and hope that Gromit drops points. There's Mosticker just glancing over the shoulder. He sees that he's on his own at the front. 27, James Mosticker, a race leader, going through Christmas Corner. Still Davis in second place. Matthew Davis second, Ed Peed third, Julian Gromit fourth. 10 seconds covering the top four riders on that previous lap. 5 laps to go as we look at the 27 there, down the straight towards the boot corner. Mosticker looks like he's starting to lap some of the tail enders in this race. Here he comes through boot in towards the final corner, just gone past the 205 of Matthew Corbett, currently in 20th place. Just ahead are John Pearson and Mark Jarrett. Mark Jarrett on that very distinctive looking Pepsi liveried machine. Looks a bit like the old Kevin Schwantz Suzuki of the late 80s. I think that must be where the inspiration may well have come from. There's Matthew Davis on the 110, currently in second place, 5.3 seconds down on James Mosticker, but at the moment Davis looking safe in that second place. Don't forget, of course, we lost a bit earlier on, of course. We lost Phil Dickens, who's dropped down to 7th place now. James Davis just nips down the inside of the 205 Matthew Corbett. You can see the gap here now with Ed Pete still in third, Gromit fourth. And Julian Gromit here in fourth place. Certainly, I wouldn't say he wants to be too risky here in fourth place. He's going to lose points to Mostica, the race leader, in terms of the championship, but fourth place will do for him for now. So he's still pushing there. Ed Pete ran the final corner on the 147 Gromit, the red plate holder, so to speak, in terms of the championship. 75 all over the back wheel now of Ed Pete, trying to move up to that third place. But of course, Gromit, series leader's got to be careful here. Can't afford to take too many risks here and drop the machine. Gromit is being closed on here though by Gav Tapperton, the number 13, just behind him as they make their way down through Zulu. There's Tapperton really closing up here on Julian Gromit. Ben Douglas and Phil Dickens in there as well. They go through Zulu down towards Boots. And Gromit, the 75, still keeping the pressure on the 147, third place rider of Ed Pete. They make their way through Boots. Let's have a look at the 71 Gromit here, all over the back wheel. He looks quick through Boot down towards the final corner. They are starting to close up on some of the tail enders as Tapperton looking over the back of his bike there. Well, he's got some sort of mechanical issue maybe. He does seem to have dropped the pace. Gromit's pulled away now in fourth place. Is Tapperton still there in fifth? Yes, he is. Got Dickens and, I tell you what, he's really recovering well here. The 55 or 51 on the bike of Phil Dickens dropped the bike a few laps ago. Has recovered well and starting to keep the pressure on the top five. 2 laps to go in this race. There's the 271 of Mark Jarrett, 27 on the bike, closely followed by John Pearson, I believe. There's John Pearson going through on the 177. These riders about to be lapped by the leaders. Mostic has already gone through. Here's the third place 147 of Ed Pete around the final corner. Riders now going on to the final lap. And this is always very tight. Gromit's bumped slightly by the back marker, has to concede the corner. Gromit's still in fourth place. Ed Pete holding on to that third position. Here's the race leader, 27, James Mostica, second in the championship. Really does need to win every race from here to keep the pressure on the series leader, Gromit. And he's certainly going the right way about it so far. Here comes Mostica through Boot for the final time. Mostica nice and neatly, doesn't need to rush things. Here he comes down towards the final corner, and 27, James Mostica, will take the checkered flag, celebrates with a wheelie as the flag falls, and James Mostica is your race leader. Second position is Matthew Davis, 5.3 seconds down. Davis taking a strong second position. Who's it going to be in the battle of third? There they go, and it's Ed Pete from Julian Gromit, Gav Tapperton, Phil Dickens in sixth position, Ben Douglas, Ian Wareham in 8th place, and rounding out the top 10, they're coming through now. 9th should be Ian Walker. There they go, rest of the midfield runners lapped down at the moment, making their way through the midfield battles. 9th is Ian Walker, 10th Gary Carter. So SYMoto's always a close race, and yet again very close indeed in that top 10 battle. But James Mostica, second in the championship. And here they are, that's the SYMoto veterans in the waiting zone now, just making their way out onto the track. This is how they will line up. James Mostica in first place from Ed Pete, Phil Dickens, Matthew Davis fourth, Ian Wareham fifth, Julian Gromit in sixth position. Seventh place for Ben Douglas from Steve Booth, Dean Bednarek in ninth, Ian Walker rounding out the top 10 from Gav Tapperton and Gary Carter in 12th place. 13th is Stu Bateson, Tony Reveley 14th, Dervin Elaine in 15th, William Horner, Mick Price and Mark Jarrett in 18th position. 19th for Robin Kyle from Mike Smallbone, Stan Gill 21st, Chris Meller 22nd, Matthew Corbett and Michael Judkins qualified in 24th position. 25th for John Pearson, no time for Meredith Owen, Paul Saville, Darren Hall, Paul Histon and Daniel Pearson. I believe most of those will be non-starters for race number 2. We've got, according to the timing charts, a little bit of a race of attrition here in the vets. 20 riders crossing the line out onto the formation lap, and they will now line up for race number 2. SYMoto veterans, again, pretty closely fought in terms of the championship. Riders now down on the line, getting underway for their second moto of the day very shortly. Just turning back our attentions to the championship going into this penultimate round in SYMoto veterans. The championship leader is the 75 of Julian Gromit, who ran very well in that first race, of course. James Mostica, no score at the first round at Elf Park, but since then has been pretty much unstoppable. And Mostica really does need to continue his form of race victories to try and get ahead of Julian Gromit. But look out for the 75 Gromit in this one. Needs a good finish to stay in contention going into the final round at Teesside. Away they go, and Mostica immediately gets the lead. Oh, it's tight into the first corner, tapping them down the inside into oblivion. They all stay on the machines as they make their way up towards Christmas corner for the first time. And Mostica immediately takes the lead. There's Gromit, 75. He's in about 6th position. Down the hill they go through Zulu for the first time. Mostica, your race leader. Mostica looking good at the front. Good clean start. Everyone seems to have gone away well. And here they come through Boot for the first time. Mostica leads. It looks like Ed Peed in second. Third position is Phil Dickens. Matthew Davis just behind in 4th. Down the hill they go. Through the start straight and up towards Christmas corner. So Mostica leads Peed in second. Down the inside though goes Matthew Davis. He's going to be brave under the brakes into Christmas corner and makes the move stick. Nice move there for Matthew Davis on the 110. Goes through to second place. Peed drops to third position. Right on his tail is the machine of Dickens, 51, currently in 4th place. Ian Wareham, 77 in 5th place. Julian Gromit in 6th, and Gromit really does need to try and break into the top 5 in terms of the championship. There was Gromit just going through in shot there momentarily, but Mostica is your race leader. They make their way around the final corner. Ed Peed 2nd, Matthew Davis 3rd, Phil Dickens, Ian Wareham, all very close indeed. Just to interject, the paddock announcement for Jim Lovell to make his way to the hospitality area. That's a paddock announcement for Jim Lovell to please make his way down to the hospitality area. Moving back to the action, and last time round actually Matthew Davis setting the fastest lap of the race with a 44.949, closing up slightly on James Mostica. All the action for third place though here between the 147 of Ed Peed, Phil Dickens. Oh, was down the inside goes the 75 of Julian Gromit, gets past the 77 of Ian Wareham. That's important for Gromit here in terms of the championship. Gromit, a cone goes flying there. That was one of the battle here. Both riders still on the bikes, but Julian Gromit at the 5th place, and that I would say is very important in terms of the championship. Matthew Davis still closing up on James Mostica though. The race leader will keep an eye on that on the lap charts as the race goes on. All the action still here for third though between Ed Peed. Oh, was down the inside goes Phil Dickens. Nice move going into Zulu. And Dickens now up to third place, trying to close up on this battle for the lead. The leaders make their way through Boot. And let's have a look at 51 here, Phil Dickens. Where is Matthew Davis? There's Davis, and I think he's still closing on Mostica. Let's have a look at the lap chart. So they make their way through. Mostica, oh, he's responded though with the fastest lap of the race, 44.661. Davis very similar on pace. There's the race leader, James Mostica, up the hill towards Christmas. There you can see Matthew Davis. He looks threatening in second place. Keep an eye on those lap charts. 1.4 seconds the gap last time round. Mostica responding with the fastest lap, 44.661, but Matthew Davis is very, very evenly matched on pace. Phil Dickens a little bit further behind in third. There's Dickens there, trying to close up with the top 2 riders. We'll have a look at the lap times when they come through this time. 7 laps to go next time round. Still a long way to go with this SYMoto bike vets. Here they come around the final corner. There's Mostica, the race leader. Davis in second. Davis has closed up, 44.469, fastest lap of the race, 1.2 seconds covering the top 2 riders. There you can see on your timing charts, 44.469, fastest lap for the 110, there he is. Going through Christmas corner, Matthew Davis trying to close up now on James Mostica as they make their way through towards Zulu. Down that slow technical right-hander. Look at the focus here of Matthew Davis, he's pulled away. Phil Dickens can't close up on him at the moment. Dickens on his own in third place. Leaders through towards Boot. There's the 110, Matthew Davis down through the final corner. Let's have a look at those lap charts as they go through. James Mostica 44.6 again though. Matthew Davis fastest lap of the race. 44 point, it's less than a second now as we look at the 75 of Julian Gromit starting to close up on Ed Peed as they make their way up the hill towards the Christmas corner. Gromit down the inside. Oh, he's not close enough to go for the inside line. He has to yield there to Peed. And Julian Gromit stays in 5th place. Gromit needs to try and get as high as he can to try and minimise the gap between himself and Mostica. Gromit still leads the championship, but James Mostica closing up all the time as things go on. But here we go. Let's have a look at Gromit once again, trying to close up on Ed Peed. Oh, we can't find a way through at the moment though. Mostica still leads. Matthew Davis again with a fast lap. It's 1.2. It's very close between the top 2 riders, but here's the battle between Gromit and Ed Peed for 4th position. Phil Dickens currently alone in 3rd. Gromit losing a little bit of ground there on the approach up to Christmas corner. There's 51, Dickens just ahead of them. Ed Peed holds on to 4th place. Julian Gromit can't find a way through in 5th place. 5 laps to go in this race, and it's still James Mostica leading from Matthew Davis, Phil Dickens. The battle concentrating on here. Ed Peed and Julian Gromit down through Zulu. They go 4th and 5th place. The rest of the top 10 made up of Ian Wareham, Gav Tapman and Ben Douglas in 8th place. Ian Walker 9th, and Dean Bednarek rounding out the top 10. Just a shout out to the podium finishers of Junior SM 140. That's Harvey Lathrope, Mason Greasley, and Ty Butler. Mini GP 140, Joel Grieg, Daniel Goodman and Peter Willis lead the top 3 from those race classes to the podium area, to the hospitality to collect your trophies. Now let's have a look as the vets start to close up on some of the tail enders here. This could throw an extra spanner in the works, you might say, as Gromit squeezes past the train of riders now making their way down through Zulu. There is the 177 of John Pearson, currently in 18th place. Pearson in battling here with Michael Judkins and Matthew Corbett. Now, we said this earlier, of course, in the programme, as it looks like Gromit's made the move on Ed Peed, so Gromit up to 4th. And this is always the factor for these leading group of riders. When you start closing up on some of the riders at the back, they're having their own battle. And you've got to navigate your way through that. You're not going to expect the slow riders to jump out of the way because they don't want to sacrifice their own race, of course. And here is Mostica well and truly in the midfield now. He's got the 127 of Stan Gill in front of him. Robin Kyle in there, 15th place as well. Oh, was somebody ran wide there. Might have been Matthew Davis. Just lost a little bit of ground there to the lead of Mostica. So at the moment, it looks like Davis has not been able to close up on Mostica. There's Davis in 2nd as Mostica nips down the inside of the 15th place Robin Kyle. Davis still there. He goes down the inside of Stan Gill, the 16th place rider. 2 laps to go. Now well and truly into the midfield runners here. So, look at Davis there. He had to be careful not to trip over the back wheel of Robin Kyle. Davis still, again, he's closed up on Mostica, just lost a little bit of momentum. The gap is 1.1 seconds, so still time here for Matthew Davis to try and close up. He's got 1.5 laps to go. Mostica at the moment has this race under control, unless Matthew Davis can find something here. Here we see the Gary Carter about to go a lap down for Mostica, as we should be expecting the last lap for very soon. Well, there's Mostica and Davis, 1.1 seconds between these 2 riders. They make their way up towards Christmas corner. There's the number 7 of Gary Carter about to go a lap down as they make their way up the hill towards Christmas for what should be the final time. Mostica really keeping his championship credentials well and truly high here, with a victory this time round would certainly be very important in terms of the championship. Julian Gromit has got him to 4th place though, so minimises the damage. Matthew Davis down Zulu for the final time. Don't think he'll be able to do anything as he runs out of time in this race. James Mostica making his way towards the final couple of corners. Here he comes through to goes through boot for the final time round the final corner, and this time it will be the last lap. So actually going for an extra lap, I believe. So racing to the flag here. Mostica still charging away. So ignore the timing charts for now because it is an extra race. An extra lap, I should say. Mostica, your race leader, nips down the inside of the 164 of Tony Reveley. And This is why, of course, he raced to the flag. Davis still there, though, in second place. He can't quite shake him off, but he's going to lose a bit of time down Zulu because he's got to try and get past the 164. Tony Reveley currently in 12th place. Davis gets through, but that's a bit of bad luck there. He encountered the slow rider at the wrong point, and that means that James Mostiger should be clear now to take victory. Into the final corner he goes, and 27, James Mostiger ran the final corner. Checkered flag goes out. Mostiger is your race winner. Davis in second. He really charged through to the end there, but wasn't quite enough. It looks like it's going to be Phil Dickens in third place, Julian Gromit in fourth. That's important for him in terms of the championship. There goes Ed Peed in fifth place. Ian Wareham just a little bit further behind on the number 77, and gives a little wave as he goes through. He's in sixth place. Gav Tappert in seventh. Ben Douglas just a little bit further behind on the 71. Just to repeat, a paddock shout out please in the junior SM 140 for Harvey Lathrope, Mason Greasley and Ty Butler, and Mini GP 140, Joel Grigg, Daniel Goodman and Peter Willis. Can you please go down to the Rich Energy Hospitality area to collect your trophies for finishing on the podium. SYMoto's Veterans Race 2 draws to a close. Very important day for James Mostiger, who will close up in terms of the championship. Some valuable points, but Julian Gromit doing enough to hold on to that championship lead going into the final round at Teesside. We move on from the SYMoto Veterans to our next race of the day. It's the second and final moto for the OMG O'Varley 110 Cup.